So Vince McMahon's life is chronicled on Netflix. It is 6 episodes. It is supposed to talk about the entire story from the rise of Vince McMahon to running WWF, then WWE, the scandals. I'm sure they're going to touch on the steroid scandal. I'm sure they're going to touch on the Benoit scandal. I'm sure they're definitely going to touch on the hush money payments. Interesting notes here. Janelle Grant was not interviewed. According to her representative, she was not interviewed for this documentary. Many of the interviews from WWE officials, including Vince McMahon, Paul Levesque, and The Rock, were done prior to Vince's original retirement in 2022. Overall, Trevor, this is going to probably be a retelling of many of the things that you and I and many other wrestling fans know, but it's going to be packaged for a more public audience, and it's going to try to tell the full story. What do you think?
You know, it's one of those things, right? Like if you hear these things, you hear these things, watching wrestling and watching and just being a wrestling fan, and it's one of those things where you're like, this, that's terrible, but it can't be true. And then so many people come out, and you hear so many retellings of the same story, different sides from the story, and everything. And you're like, God, this guy's a monster. This guy's an animal. And then like he gets literally pissed about the fact that it comes out and some of the things that people said, and he dropped his law firm recently. I don't know if
Yep,
you
yep,
saw that.
yep. Or he dropped his PR firm.
I'm sorry, PR firm. Yeah, PR firms recently, and he just joined them recently, like
Yep.
the past couple months. Um, like you know, I'll watch it because I'm curious if they're going to say anything that I don't know. But for the most part, it's enough of hearing about this terrible human.
Yeah.
And I know it's getting to the point where I don't need to or want to hear any more about what this guy's done. I know how bad he is. I know what he's done, and the people that are online that that celebrate him, I literally want to punch him in the face. Like, and I know I shouldn't say that, but dude, you're celebrating this piece of human excrement, and you don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, it is going to be an interesting watch to say the least because and there's a report Vince tried to buy this documentary. He tried to stop it from going. He was like, "I will pay to buy this whole thing from you."
Yeah, he definitely did.
And obviously that's not happening, and he came out with a very strong statement against it, that it was spelling false narratives, blah blah blah. A lot of that is part of the PR battle that Vince is doing. Like, he's doing a PR battle to try to stop this. And I think probably one of the reasons he fired this firm was because he his goal was to stop this documentary from coming out. The fact that it is coming out was a failure, and he fired them for this project. That's probably how I saw it play out, and that's why we saw it happen like just a day before this documentary is supposed to come out. The documentary itself, though, I think from the trailer and what we've heard, it is going to probably spell the story of Vince kind of losing himself in the sauce, and like losing himself in the character of Vince McMahon, or of Mr.
Mm-hmm.
McMahon. I think that's what they're going for. That's why the
Right.
title of it is like Mr. McMahon, which we'll see how that ends up playing out. But the reality is, I mean, there's a lot. There's definitely a lot. Like, there is so much to tell when you're talking about the story of Vince McMahon. To see it all in one go is going to be an interesting watch. The one thing I will say, there is a scandal that many wrestling fans are not familiar with that I don't think is going to be included in this documentary, but it is probably the only thing, if they do talk about it, that would be worth, I think, people who know, like really know Vince McMahon tuning in. That would be if they talk about the Ring Boy scandal.
Oh, I think I have heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get into too many details, it's a horrible, horrible scandal that happened in across like the 90s with this WWE official named Mel Brooks, allegedly Pat Patterson as well,
Mhm.
where horrible things were done to ring boys, and there's just no other way to say it.
Let's just put it at that. Yeah. Let's put
Um,
it.
that happened under Vince's watch, and allegedly, and we'll see if that is mentioned. That is another kind of, I think you might hear a mention of it from people within the documentary. I think Meltzer was in the documentary as well. So gonna be an interesting watch.
Humdinger. When is it drop again?
It's dropping tonight, 3 a.m.
That's what I thought. Yeah.